Hello and welcome. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and remember that God can get you through whatever you're facing today. He is greater than our problems, and He is quite capable of helping you overcome your difficulties. I think sometimes when we are in need of God to deliver us from something, we expect God to do some miraculous act. And He does, on occasion, do that. But much more often, God uses ordinary things, little inconsequential things, to do His will. As it says in 1 Corinthians 1:27-28, instead, God has chosen what is foolish in the world to shame the wise, and God has chosen what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God has chosen what is insignificant and despised in the world, what is viewed as nothing, to bring to nothing what is viewed as something. So let's look at some occasions when God used ordinary things to accomplish the extraordinary. In Exodus 4, we have the narrative of God giving Moses miraculous signs so that the Hebrews would believe that God had sent Moses. Beginning in verse 1, Moses answered, "What if they won't believe me or will not obey me, but say, 'The Lord did not appear to you'?" The Lord asked him, "What is that in your hand?" "A staff," he replied. "Throw it on the ground," he said. So Moses threw it on the ground. It became a snake, and he ran from it. The Lord told Moses, "Stretch out your hand and grab it by the tail." So he stretched out his hand and caught it, and it became a staff in his hand. Here we see God using a stick, a branch, to have Moses perform miraculous signs to validate that Moses was God's prophet. Notice that it became a real snake because Moses ran from it, probably in fear, so it may even have been a poisonous snake. In Judges, we have the narrative of Samson, who was captured by his own people, tied up with new ropes, and handed over to the Philistines. Judges 15:14-15 says, "When he came to Lehi, the Philistines came to meet him, shouting. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on him, and the ropes that were in his arms and wrists became like burnt flax and fell off. He found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, reached out his hand, took it, and killed 1,000 men with it." God gave Samson the jawbone of a donkey, and Samson killed 1,000 men with it. Then in John chapter 6, the Apostle John records the feeding of the 5,000, reading from verses 4-9. Now the Passover, a Jewish festival, was near. So when Jesus looked up and noticed a huge crowd coming toward him, he asked Philip, "Where will we buy bread so that these people can eat?" He asked this to test him, for he himself knew what he was going to do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread wouldn't be enough for each of them to have a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what are they for so many?" And of course we know what happened. Jesus fed the 5,000, and as recorded in verse 13, so they collected them, that is the leftovers, and filled 12 baskets with the pieces from the 5 barley loaves that were left over by those who had eaten. Now we see how God uses the small things, the ordinary things, to do great wonders. This is why Zechariah reminds us in Zechariah 4:10, "Who despises the day of small things?" God often starts with a small thing, something that may be overlooked by the world, and creates majestic, awe-inspiring things from it. He started with clay to make Adam, and yet man is the pinnacle of God's creation, made in the image of Almighty God. Are you looking for a big move of God in your life? Are you waiting for a spectacular miracle? Are you expecting God to do things the way you think they should be done? Well, here's an old story to illustrate how we should never overlook the small things. A man got trapped on his roof during a flood. While clinging to the chimney, he was praying that God would rescue him. A fellow came by in a boat and asked if he could help. The man said, "No, that's okay. God's going to rescue me." The water continued to rise, and another fellow came by paddling a skimpy little raft. He offered help to the man on the roof, but was told, no, no, thank you, but God's going to rescue me. The water rose higher and higher, and then a helicopter hovered over him. The pilot offered to lower a rope, but the man said, no, God has this under control. He's going to rescue me. As the water continued to rise, the man was swept away to his death. When the man reached heaven, he asked God, why didn't you rescue me? God said, well, my friend, I sent 3 people to pick you up, and you turned them all down. What did you expect? So, while you are waiting and watching for a miraculous move of God, don't overlook the small things that may bring huge results. God bless you until next time, and thanks for watching.